I'm in horse form? This is a pony review? Oh, thank goodness, I'm not ready to cover Infinity Train yet. No, I won't spoil it here. It still hurts too much. Hello, cartoon fanatics, RJ here, and welcome to another Cartoon Corner on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I know I missed a couple of episodes, but since most of them were slice of life, I'm gonna quickly go over the details that apply to the rest of the season. Probably the most significant change in these past couple of episodes is Twilight working through her anxiety and freakouts. We saw it explode into realms of insanity during trivia night, and ever since then she's found a way to remain calm and collected in stressful situations. This is a big step for her character, but it also feels like a very rapid step. Twilight's been working on her stress for most of the show, but to have her do a complete 180 in the span of a couple of episodes seems pretty jarring. You can't just put your hoof down and snap into place just like that. Maybe the more stressful a situation becomes, the more we'll see bits of Twilight's freakouts try to creep to the surface. For example, maybe in the series finale, we'll see her kind of freak out, because that'll be a big deal. But for now, she certainly seems to be prepping to be Celestia 2.0. With that transition beginning to happen, we come to the episode where Twilight officially decides to have Starlight take over the School of Friendship. With such a large task ahead of her, Starlight decides she needs to look for a vice principal to help with the duties, and Trixie is convinced that that someone is her. Starlight, wanting to make things fair, opens up an interview process that brings in quite the variety of applicants. What do you mean? We got Octavia, we got Big Mac, we got that snooty pony Diamond Tiara's mother, Spoiled Milk, or whatever her name is. Also, it's confirmed now that this guy is called Dr. Hooves, and I don't know what to think of it. It's the last season. We can do whatever we want. It's funny that the team seems to be in a senior year mindset when making episodes here, but honestly, after working almost a decade on this show and its spin-offs, I don't blame them. So Starlight puts the applicants through a series of duties they would have to do as vice principal, such as substituting for teachers, sitting in on parent-teacher conferences, and supplying field trips for the students, just to name a few. These scenes were pretty fun. We get to see sides of background characters that we've grown to love and how their unique talents can be used in a school setting, and they all seem pretty eager to try out their skills. With that being said, why has Cheerilee been the only full-time teacher we've seen at Ponyville School? Why didn't any of these characters substitute as an episode for her? How does education in Equestria work? I give up. I'm literally beating a dead horse, pun intended. It's like the last 6 episodes of the series. If the writers are just kind of doing whatever, I'm on board with them. Just get me through the end. I'm done analyzing. Ugh. All throughout the interview process, Trixie keeps, being Trixie, convinced that Starlight is going to give her the job just because they're friends. However, Trixie's mishap field trip causes Starlight to finally burst, which we have seen in the past. And to be fair, both characters are right in this situation. Trixie isn't the best pony for this job. But Starlight should have been upfront honest with Trixie from the start instead of leading her on with the hope that she'd be a shoo-in for the job. What I like is Starlight knew the solution, but her own wishes to work alongside a close friend prevent her from doing what she should have immediately done. And I totally get where she's coming from. We spend a majority of our lives at work. You'd think you'd prefer to have a friend constantly by your side for the job. But most of the time you discover things about each other you didn't expect, and you might work great as friends, but not the best as co-workers. It's the same way with roommates, as hilariously shown in Amphibia. As much as you might love your friends, it isn't always the right choice to live with them in the same space or to work alongside them. Starlight comes to this realization herself with Celestia 2.0, Twilight, making adorable listening faces in the background. Starlight apologizes to Trixie, and then the two work together to find an appropriate candidate for vice principal. And since this is My Little Pony, the vice principal is still one of Starlight's friends, but it ends up being Sunburst, with Trixie being offered the role of school counselor for her accidental advice she gave Starlight throughout various episodes. Ha! Imagine telling the fandom during season 1 that the great and powerful Trixie would become a guidance counselor. Jeez, a lot of these characters have grown so much. Okay, I think I'm up to date now with only a handful of episodes left of this show. It's actually really hard to comprehend. Honestly, I'm still not fully adjusted to Twilight acting calm. It's gotta be a facade. She's gotta crack sometime. The point being, there has been a lot of recent change amongst the character development, especially with Twilight, and for a show going on for almost a decade, it seems rather fast. That's show business, I guess? Look, I'm all for character growth, but even within this season, the change has only occurred in the last 2 or 3 episodes. Even if you weren't aware that this was the last season until you were starting production on it, there had to have been some time to pace out the character growth throughout the season, right? I don't know. I still like what we have, so this is a little nitpicky from a writing standpoint, but this could have flowed over the course of the season. At least it's just not bookending the season with the first 2 and the last 2 episodes. But Twilight's transition of finally learning how to stay cool in stressful situations could have been paced better. It's funny, but I've actually enjoyed Starlight a lot more in these later seasons compared to when she was first introduced and redeemed. Once we got the necessary villain redemption arc out of the way, she became a pretty interesting and compelling character, not only with her relationship with Twilight, but also with her relationship with other interesting characters and former villains. Twilight was always going to somewhat fit the mold of taking over Equestria eventually, but Starlight's a bit more of a wild card, and therefore she's been much more interesting to watch. In other words, I really enjoyed this episode and have no idea what they'll do between now and the series finale, but I hope it's more than just regular random slice of life episodes. A girl can dream. If you liked this review, go ahead and put a hooves up and press that like button. Feel free to comment below on your thoughts on the episode and how the last season of My Little Pony is going as a whole. Do you think they're beginning to wrap things up pretty nicely, or are there still way too many unanswered questions? I've already said my 2 bits, so please excuse me. I've got some emotional stability to gain back before going over Infinity Train. It's gonna be a rough one.